Good morning, everybody. Before I introduce you to Mr. Rogers today and talk to you about his background, his mission, and how he is still impacting people today, I would like to ask you, would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? When you heard those words, you knew that Mr. Rogers was going to bring you on a fantastic journey that day. Fred Rogers, or his full name, Fred McFeely Rogers, was born on March 20th, 1928 in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. For most of his life, it was just him and his parents, James and Nancy Rogers. Until 1939, when he was 11 years old, his parents adopted a baby girl they named Elaine. However, Fred was not the little boy you would quite expect him to be from his adult persona. He felt very isolated since he had to stay inside many summer months due to his asthma. He was also overweight, which made him very shy and introverted. As he was growing up, people would tell him not to let the other kids see that he cared, but he didn't much like that advice. Instead, he turned to his grandfather for guidance, who also helped his self-esteem. He would tell him things like, "Freddie, you make my day very special." By the time he hit high school, he was more confident and capable. He was even elected student council president his senior year of high school. After he graduated Latrobe High School, he moved on to Dartmouth College, where he pursued music for a year before transferring over to Rollins College in Water Park, Florida. There, he met his wonderful wife, Joanna, who he would later marry 5 years later. His senior year of college, he visited his parents and found a new piece of technology, a television. With it, he envisioned the future, which he would later say he knew he had to be a part of. He was appalled, though, at how simple-minded their approach to children's programs were. When he graduated college in 1951, he used his degree in music to get a job at New York public television station. There, he got experience and a reputation. Later, though, he found out that his community region, his hometown, Pittsburgh, was opening a community-owned public television station. And to everyone at New York Television's surprise, he picked up and moved to Pittsburgh. There, he worked on a program called Children's Corner, and he developed ideas for music, puppets, characters, and narratives that were engaging and powerful to children. In 1963, he worked with Canadian producers and created Mr. Rogers. There, he raised two of his boys with Joanna, but they didn't much want to raise them in Canada anymore. In 1966, he went back to WQED and renamed his program to Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. His goal and mission was to help children understand their feelings. He touched on things that other programs shied away from. Mr. Rogers said, "The world is not always a kind place. Children will learn this whether we want them to or not. It is our job to help them understand them." He was always sure to touch on all of the feelings and make sure that they knew how to understand them and how to deal with them. He used his self-doubt and insecurity to be aware and help them. He used his loneliness, self-doubt, to be aware of children's needs. He had told Oprah in an interview that if there were any children in the audience, he would not be able to help her perform the interview because he would be too focused on the children's needs. Of course, she was so confused. Why would you not want children to be in the audience? That is what you do. But he assured her that if there were, he would not be able to perform it correctly. Although she did have it in the interview, so it was a little rocky, but he cannot fight his urge to help the children. December 2002, he was diagnosed with stomach cancer. A month later, he had surgery, which only slowed the process. And unfortunately, February 27, 2003, he died with Joanna at his side at his home. This is very sad to all of us, since many people grew up looking up to Mr. Rogers and knowing his lovely, wonderful days. However, he still lives on in Daniel Tiger. This program is on PBS Now and helps kids know what to do when they are upset. It creates little songs and little lessons throughout their day that they can remember. He has friends such as Daniel Tiger, King Prince Wednesday, and King Friday, all that were incorporated in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. As we do a quick recap before we turn off our televisions, let's take a look at how and remember how we looked at his background, his mission, and how he's still impacting people today. Let's remember how, and hopefully I showed you the magic and the kindness that Mr. Rogers showed us in each and every one of his programs. Until next time.